October for 1957, the Soviets send off Sputnik 1, the world's most memorable fake satellite. October 1, 1958, the authority beginning of NASA. October 7, 1958, NASA reports Venture Mercury. The Mercury undertaking's goals are to put a human rocket into orbital trip around Earth, notice human execution in such circumstances, and recuperate the human and the space apparatus securely. April 9, 1959, the Mercury 7 are presented as the Mainer space explorers. Scott Craftsman L., Gordon Cooper Jr., John H., Glenn Jr., Virgil I., Gus Grissom, Walter Militas, Skira Jr., Alan B., Shepard Jr., What's More, Donald K., Deke Sladen. May 5, 1961, Opportunity 7, the primary directive, Mercury space apparatus conveying space traveler, Alan B., Shepard Jr., is sent off from Cape Canaveral. It is the principal American spaceflight including people. February 21, 1962, Glenn turns into the primary American to circle the Earth, making 3 circles in the companionship. 7 Mercury space apparatus. March 23, 1965, the principal functional mission of Task Gemini happens under the order of Mercury Space Explorer. Grissom. June 7, 1965, the second directed Gemini mission, GD4, stays on Haifa for days. Space traveler Edward H. White 2 plays out the primary extravehicular movement EVA or spacewalk by an American. January 27, 1967, Apollo 1 bursts into flames during a dress practice, and the 3 space explorers on board, LT Cole, Grissom, LT Cole, White, and Roger B. Chaffee, are killed. December 24, 1968, Apollo 8 space explorers, forthcoming Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders become the principal people to circle the moon. July 16, 1969, Apollo 11 goes to the moon. On July 20, 1969, the lunar module with space travelers Neil A. Armstrong and Edwin E. Buzz Aldrin Jr. lands on the lunar surface, while Michael Collins circles above in the Apollo order module. Armstrong turns into the primary man to stroll on the moon. April 11, 1970, during the trip of Apollo 13, an oxygen tank bursts and harms a few of the electrical and life emotionally supportive networks. The space travelers and NASA engineers on the ground track down the lunar module, an independent space apparatus unaffected by the mishap, can be utilized as a raft to give somber life backing to the bring trip back. The team returns securely on April 17, 1970. July 15 to 24, 1975, the Apollo-Soyuz test undertaking is the main human spaceflight mission oversaw mutually by 2 countries, testing the similarity of meeting and docking frameworks for us and Soviet shuttles to open the way for future joint flights is planned. April 12, 1981, space explorers John W. Youthful and Robert L. Crippen fly Space Transport Columbia on the main trip of the Space Transportation Framework Saints 1. Columbia turns into the principal plane like art to land from. Circle for reuse. June 18, 1983, space travelers Robert L. Crippen and Frederick H. Hawk pilot space transport Challenger Saints 7, determined to send off to correspondences, satellites, and the reusable transport bed. Satellite SPARS 01, Sally K. Ride, one of 3 mission experts on the flight, turns into the main American lady space traveler. January 28, 1986, the Challenger detonates 73 seconds after send-off because of a break in one of the strong rocket supporters. Every one of the 7 team on board pass on. Administrator Francis R. Dick Scobie, pilot Michael J. Smith, 3 mission subject. Matter experts Judith A. Resnick, Ronald E. McNair, Ellison S. Onizuka, payload expert Gregory B. Jarvis, and Sharon Krista McCullough, an educator chose through the Educator in Space program. April 24, 1990, during the trip of the Space Transport Disclosure Saints 31. The team sends the Hubble Space Telescope February 3, 1995, precisely 1 year after a significant helpful trip with the Russians in STS-60. NASA's Space Transport Disclosure. This time STS-63 FLI's another notable mission, highlighting the flyby of the Russian Mir space station. It is likewise whenever that a lady first pilot, Eileen Millides Collins, orders the space transport. July 4, 1997, the Mars Pathfinder lands on Mars. After 2 days, the Sojourner Wanderer carries out of the Pathfinder and onto Mars' surface, where it, before long, starts sending pictures of Mars back to Earth. November 2, 2000, the principal long-lasting team, Campaign 1, shows up at the Worldwide Space Station ISS. February 1, 2003, the Space Transport Columbia, on mission STS-107, deteriorates during Ray emergence, and each of the 7 group individuals on board are killed. Authority Rick Spouse, pilot Willie McCool, and mission experts Kalpana Chawla, Tree Clark, Mike Anderson, David Brown, and Israeli payload expert Ilan Raymond. August 31, 2006, NASA grants Lockheed Martin an agreement to construct a monitored lunar spaceship called Orion. October 11, 2010, President Barack Obama signs the Public Air Transportation and Space Organizer tie-in approval demonstration of 2010 bill, which incorporates assets for business space programs, approval for a weighty lift send-off vehicle, and endorsement of an extra transport send-off before the Armada resigns. December 2, 2010, NASA researchers declare the disclosure of an arsenic-eating microorganisms tracked down in California's Mono Lake, growing the conventional thoughts of economical life. August 5, 2011, mission Juno, an automated shuttle, dispatches. The appearance in Jupiter's air is planned for August 2016, and the mission's end is to be October 2017. Examinat irons concerning the development and advancement of the planet, its overcast cover, attractive and gravitational fields will be acted with an end goal to additional understandings of the arrangement of Earth. July 2, 2012, NASA discloses Orion, the officer's most up-to-date monitored spaceship. August 6, 2012, the $2.6 billion Meanderer interest effectively arrives on Mars. September 12, 2013, researchers affirm that Explorer 1, sent off in 1977, has crossed into interstellar space. July 23, 2015, NASA's Kepler rocket finds Earth's greater, more established cousin. The planet Kepler 452b is around 1,400 light-years from Earth in the Cygnus heavenly body. July 4, 2016, following a just about 5-year venture, the Juno space test effectively enters Jupiter's circle. July 12, 2017, NASA discharges photographs of Jupiter taken as Juno FLIs by the planet's extraordinary red spot. The spot is really a monster storm with mists that length 10,000 miles wide. April 18, 2018, the Traveling Exoplanet Review satellite known as TESS is sent off from Cape Canaveral. The occupation of TESS is to find exoplanets that can be examined. August 12, 2018, the Parker Sun-powered test dispatches. It is normal to circle inside 3.83 million miles of the Sun by 2025. July 2019, NASA reports TESS has recognized a new exoplanet called GJ 357d, found 31 light-years away, that could possibly uphold life. May 30, 2020, SpaceX and NASA send off Hawk 9, conveying 2 space explorers into space. The main send-off from a soil beginning around 2011. June 24, 2020, NASA declares it is renaming its Washington, D.C. Central Command after Mary W. Jackson, the officer's most memorable dark female designer who motivated the story behind the book and film. Stowed away figures. July 30, 2020, NASA dispatches the Wanderer, steadiness from Cape Canaveral, Florida, for a February 2021. Arriving on Mars, the Meanderer will look for proof of old life and will take tests of Martian stone back to Earth. October 22, 2020, subsequent to circling the close Earth space rock Bennu for almost 2 years, NASA's OSIRIS-REx shuttle effectively lands and connects its mechanical arm to gather an example from the space rock surface. That example will be gotten back to Earth in 2023. November 15, 2020, a SpaceX rocket dispatches from Florida's Kennedy Space Center, denoting the opening shot of what NASA expectations will be long periods of the organization assisting with keeping the ISS completely staffed. This is a milestone mission for NASA and the organization since it is the primary completely functional maintained mission for SpaceX. July 17, 2021, NASA declares the Hubble Space Telescope is working again after over a month disconnected because of an issue with the payload PC ready. November 16, 2021, Jessica Watkins will turn into the principal individual of color on the Global Space Station group. As per NASA, she is set to send off into space in April 2022 on the SpaceX team for mission. March 28, 2022, the Biden organizations mentioned 2023 NASA spending plan of $25.4 billion is the biggest solicitation in the space office's set of experiences. NASA overseer Bill Nelson reports that it is 8% more than the allotment bill from monetary year 2022. June 9, 2022, NASA declares that it is assembling a group to concentrate on unidentified elevated peculiarities UAPs, prominently known as UFOs. From a security and well-being point of view, the UAP study will start in the fall and is supposed to require 9 months. July 22, 2022, NASA declares that at some point between late August and early September, the uncrewed Artemis will send off on a mission that goes past the moon and gets back to Earth. The Artemis program means to return people to the moon and land the main lady and first ethnic minority on the lunar surface by 2025. After August 29th and September 3rd send-offs are cleaned, NASA remains down on an early September send-off endeavor and is inspecting choices. November 16, 2022, Artemis I takes off. The 322-foot-tall Space Send-Off Framework, or SLS, rocket takes off at 1:47 MET. On the rocket is the Orion shuttle that splits from the rocket rearward. June 5, 2024, the main manned flight test on board Boeing Starliner space apparatus dispatches from Cape Canaveral Space Power Station in Florida.